So what you see here is a vending machine. Yes, my art isn't the best in the world, but this is a visual representation of a vending machine. Now this is straight from one of the workshops that I use with clients who are struggling with their organization. Maybe value isn't emerging, maybe people are leaving, maybe the culture's getting diluted. And when I run the workshop, I actually create a sort of balsa wood version of this, a physical vending machine. It doesn't necessarily look exactly like a vending machine, but one day maybe I will create some sort of reusable vending machine. So this is an exercise about solving problems. Almost every organization has way more problems than they can realistically solve. And actually a lot of time in organizations is spent solving symptoms or shiny, interesting problems, rather than the root causes of those problems, that if you solve those, they actually solve a myriad of other problems in the organization. And the idea being is that there's only 6 slots in the vending machine, so we can only put 6 problems in. We're going to tackle the 6 that are the most important. Now what's interesting and why this is a physical activity is because when we start to name a problem and we create a physical representation of a problem, there's much deeper connection. We can see it, we can feel it. And that sort of physical activity of building something is also a really wonderful way to engage people in the process. So the idea being is that really what we're trying to do in any organization is go from where we are now to where we want to be. Now I call this the current reality and the painted picture, but essentially if this painted picture, this future, is so compelling, it's so exciting, it's so interesting, then we have to ask the question, why are we not already there yet? What's stopping us from achieving it next week or next month or in 6 months' time? And the answer to that question often generates you a list of problems, and then we whittle those problems down and see which ones are connected, which ones are just symptoms. Is there a root cause that's causing many of those problems? We have these 6 problems and we're going to create a product for them. I tend to use a sort of paper cardboard version with a front and a back, exactly like a vending machine. What's going to draw your attention to something in the vending machine? What's going to make you put some money in and vend that particular item? That's the idea here. We make it appealing and interesting. On the front, we always name the problem. Sometimes naming a problem, it's clearly not going to solve the problem, but it gives us a shared understanding and language about the problem. It gives us something to focus on. It gives it an identity which allows us to try and address it. It's not nebulous. Now here obviously we want to understand what problem we are trying to solve. So we get crystal clear and we generate a name for it, maybe a little description on the front, something that people look at and go, yeah, that's something we absolutely have to vend, we have to solve. Now on the back we cover 3 other things. The first of which is, how do we know this is a problem? What tells us it's a problem? Where's the data, the evidence, the insights, the measures, the metrics, the qualitative analysis that's gone on? And we want to include that in the problem, because if we know that it's a problem because of these things, then when we solve it, those numbers, those measures, those insights should disappear or reverse or go in a different direction. Now the third thing is, or the second thing on the back is, why must we solve it? In other words, why is this a problem that needs solving? And in here what we're trying to do is create an emotional connection to the issue, something that people can galvanize around and go, yes, I want to help you solve this problem. There's a connection, there's a reason why it's important. Now the third one on the back, the fourth one on this list here, is solutions. There's very rarely a single solution to the problems that we encounter in an organization. And sometimes leaders, managers, people in business, they're always looking for that single solution to a problem. Whereas here what we're trying to articulate is that actually there may be 4 or 5 potential solutions. We might need all 5. We might get away with running the first one and find that it solves the problem. But what we're doing here is thinking laterally, creatively, broadly. But essentially we vend it, we gather people around it, we fix it, we address it, we solve it, we move on, we take the next one. And we keep doing that. Now you may want to refill the vending machine by doing this activity every sort of few months, or you might want to do it once a year, because actually most problems in business, they're not quick fixes. They're going to take a while to resolve. But what's important is we clearly know what problem we're trying to solve. We know why it's a problem and how it's a problem because we've got measures, insight, data, and metrics. We know why it's worth solving it. There's an emotional reason for getting past it. And then finally, we know the solutions that we think might address this problem. And that's your action. That's your plan. It works wonders. I love running this exercise because the physical nature is great. People come together. We get clarity for the first time, and clarity creates value. That's actually the tagline for Cultivated Management. And it's also just a lot of fun, getting people in the room to talk about things that are actually problematic and difficult, but turning it into something that's a little bit more light-hearted, a little bit more joyful. It's a serious topic, but we're adding a bit of lightness to it. It can be a really positive experience. Anyway, there's the idea behind it. Go forth, create your own vending machine, go for it. Swap out the vending machine for, whatever, a shelf on a supermarket thing. I don't know. I'm clutching at straws now. Anyway, I hope that's been helpful and useful. I will catch you in the next Cultivated Notes video. You take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.